A ceasefire has been announced in Gaza, and objectively, that is good news for the millions of Palestinians who have been living under near constant Israeli bombardment for the past 2 years. But just because a ceasefire has taken effect does not mean that the genocide is over, and it doesn't mean that we can now take our eyes off of Gaza. First of all, the physical threat against Palestinians in Gaza has not just gone away. Even after the ceasefire was announced, there were reports of Israeli tanks firing shells at Palestinians who were trying to return home north to Gaza City. In the days leading up to the actual announcement of the ceasefire, Israel has carried out more than 200 attacks against Palestinians in Gaza. Naturally, people in Gaza and across Palestine are cautiously optimistic. People want a stop to the genocide. People want a stop to the daily slaughter. But naturally, people are skeptical because Israel and the U.S. have never been good faith partners when it comes to ceasefire agreements. Up until now, since the genocide began, there have already been 2 other ceasefires, both of which Israel broke. What we do know so far are that there are a couple things that have been agreed on. An immediate cessation of Israeli attacks on Palestinians in Gaza, that Israeli troops are supposed to retreat to a line, an area that so far has not been made exactly clear where they're going to retreat to, that all the remaining Israeli captives will be released, and that a number of Palestinian prisoners who are being held captive in Israeli jails will also be released. Aid is also supposed to be let in. That is also a condition of this first part of the agreement. But as we know in previous ceasefire agreements, Israel was also supposed to let in aid and flood aid into Gaza, and that did not happen as it was supposed to. So suffice it to say, people do not trust the U.S. administration, people do not trust Israel as good faith partners in a ceasefire, but nevertheless, we have seen celebrations in Gaza because people ultimately just want the slaughter to stop. So in addition to being skeptical about this actual particular ceasefire agreement, whether it will hold, whether Israel will just go ahead and violate it again, historically, when it comes to ongoing quote-unquote peace negotiations, which is how Trump has sort of framed this latest, what's supposed to be a series of agreements, Israel has historically used these periods of peace negotiations to just further its settler colonial project. So to further its occupation, further entrench its military occupation of Palestine, further the expansion of settlements in the case of the West Bank, and further plans like annexation. In terms of what lies ahead for the future, it really is unclear, but at least what we know now is that today Palestinians in Gaza can hopefully sleep without the threat of bombs raining down on them for the first time in a really long time.